Hey guys, Hughes here, back with another Ada video. It's been a while since I talked about Ada, but I wanted to go over some of the things we were talking about last time with Ada, mainly on its Bitcoin pair, but we're going to take a look at the USD pair first. And Ada's just been making moves recently, so I thought it'd be a good time to make an update video on Ada. So Ada has been doing really well. It's up 181%. So it was at 24 cents in October and it's currently sitting at 65 and it peaked at around 68. And to me, this move was really overdue. Ada's been underperforming basically every like top 50 coin or top 25 coin. And so this move to me isn't that big of a surprise. I mean, I was a little surprised that Ada was doing it, but it was really overdue in my opinion. So it's nice that it happened now, and I think that it could actually continue a little bit higher, especially if Bitcoin's going to continue a little bit higher going into the ETF news, which is in about 3 weeks now. So I think ADA can still climb a little bit more. It's interesting that we're currently sitting right at these peaks right here. And if we do get above this level, I think we're going to go to around 78 to 80 cents, which just go to the daily just to see a little bit more. But you can see how we basically found support at around 78 cents multiple times, in the bull market here, in the bear market for a while here. And you can kind of see the reaction too. Like we hit this level and then we spiked up, right? Even here, like this was a pretty big move up when we touched it. So I think it's a pretty interesting area and I think ADA could do it. I don't know if it will, but I do think it has a good chance to do it. And I don't really know if we're going to get above this level because it's definitely a strong area that ADA is going to probably find resistance in. I mean, we could just like slice through it. I would be kind of surprised if we did, but this is really the next level that I'm looking at for ADA is around if we do get above like 68 cents. Like if we do break above 68, then I think we're just going to go straight to 78. So not sure if it's going to happen, but I guess it'd be really nice if it did. But this is the USD pair, and I think that ADA on its Bitcoin pair is a little bit more interesting. So we're going to flip over to the Bitcoin pair. This is kind of what I talked about last time, which was on its Bitcoin pair. And just a reminder what I said last time, we were like in this area down here, and I was saying that this to me, like ADA could potentially break down, go into between 500 to 400 satoshis down in this area. And if it did come down into this area, this is where I think would be a great level to buy ADA with your Bitcoin. So convert your Bitcoin into ADA down here and then ride it all the way back up to the peak. Because the reason why I like this chart so much is because it kind of has a really nice structure to it. It kind of looks like an oscillator, right? Like it goes up to the peak and then it'll come all the way back down. Then it'll go all the way back up to that area and then maybe come all the way back down. And that's what we were speculating last time. And right now you might be thinking, well, it's not going to happen. Like we basically bounced off this level and we got a huge move up, which could, like, I don't know if we're going to come back down to this level. I kind of hope we do because that's kind of the trade that I was talking about. And I think it'd be a really, really great opportunity. But even though we got this big move, I just want to point out we've already done it twice from this level. So the pink line, which is around 850 satoshis, you can see at the end of 2018, we were right at it. And what did we do? We actually bounced higher than where we are now. I mean, we went up to 1950 satoshis at its peak up here. And what's interesting is that after we got this huge bounce, that's what actually caused ADA to come down to this level. It was after the massive bounce that we got from where we bounced just now recently. So I don't think it's completely out of the question for ADA to come, into this area. I still think it's possible that it does. And it's also kind of interesting that it kind of looks a little similar too, like this bounce. So this is the weekly candles. You can kind of see ADA initially like bounced a little bit, then it kind of just like went sideways for a bit, and then it got a second move up. and then it like collapsed down, right? And we kind of did something similar. I mean, it's not the exact same, but we moved up, went sideways for a bit, and now we're getting the second leg up. So I don't know how high this goes, but I do think there's still a chance that Ada does eventually collapse back down, at least into this range again, into like the 900 to 800 Satoshi level. And I don't know if we're going to break it. I do think that we will come back down to this area, at least this trend line below. I'll talk about that in a sec, but we went higher than where we are now, and we still came all the way back down to like 500 Satoshis. So I still think there's a risk that we do come down to 500 Satoshis, like anywhere between 500 and 400. And if we do, like, I'll just go over the trade again. It's pretty simple. You just convert your Bitcoin into ADA down here, anywhere down here, and all you do is after whatever, like however much you want to convert, you just hold it all the way up here, and it's probably going to take like a year or two, or like a year and a half, probably like a year and a half, I think, to get all the way up here, if we do reach the bottom. But the craziest thing, and the reason why I really like this potential play, is because it's against Bitcoin, and especially nowadays, I mean, Bitcoin's currently sitting at 43K. Bitcoin, like buying one Bitcoin is kind of difficult now. Like, I don't really know a lot of people that could just like throw 43K right now all at once to get a full Bitcoin. And that's why I really like looking at altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, because I think that's how you can get to a full Bitcoin. And this play to me is actually a pretty massive play. I mean, if you were able to, let's just say you wanted to convert 0.1 Bitcoin, and you were able to convert 0.1 Bitcoin right here in the middle of this range at around 450 Satoshis, and you rode it all the way up to 6,000 Satoshis. I mean, that's a 13x on Bitcoin. So you're turning your 0.1 Bitcoin into 1.3 Bitcoin. And I think getting 0.1 Bitcoin is definitely doable for, it's still a lot of money, but I mean, right now it'd be worth 4,300 for 0.1 Bitcoin, and that's way more doable than, buying a full Bitcoin at 43K. But you can just get 0.1, convert it here. I mean, if you already have 0.1 or just whatever, like, even if you don't have like Bitcoin right now, you could, instead of buying Bitcoin down here, like, you just buy ADA instead. And you'd be turning that 0.1 into 1.3 Bitcoin, which is pretty massive. And I was talking about a 50x for this move, and this is only 13, but you got to realize that if ADA's up here against Bitcoin, we're definitely in a bull market, and Bitcoin itself is probably 3 to 4x. So you're just multiplying the 13 times like 4, which is around 50x. So that's where the 50x comes from. That's the trade. It's pretty simple. I still think that there is a good chance that we come down here. But I do think that if the ADA Bitcoin pair does come back down to around like 800 Satoshis, I think you could hedge if you wanted to. Maybe you could like convert a little bit of Bitcoin here if you want to play it safe. If you like really like can't like wait, in my opinion, like though, I would just wait it out. I mean, I already have ADA, so maybe that's fine. I'm not super not pressed about it, but I really do think that we could come to this level again. Like, I really think there's a chance that we do, because this is the Bitcoin pair, and you got to realize that even if ADA USD goes up, like let's say ADA against the dollar goes up, ADA against Bitcoin could go down at the same time that ADA against the dollar is going up. And the way that would happen is if ADA, let's say ADA like went up, right? But then let's say Bitcoin goes up really hard, like way harder than ADA, the ADA Bitcoin pair would go down. So that's one way we can see ADA collapse. I mean, there's basically like 3 scenarios. That's like one scenario. If ADA just goes sideways on the dollar and Bitcoin goes up, then this would also go down. And then if Ada went down, like really hard, but Bitcoin only went down a little bit, like let's say Bitcoin collapsed like 10%, but Ada collapses like 30%, then the Bitcoin pair will also go down. So you can't just like look at the USD pair and like think that just because the USD pair is going up, like this is gonna go up. Like it really just depends on Bitcoin. So I think this trade is still valid. But it is interesting, this like kind of ascending triangle that we could be making with the trend line I drew underneath. And I don't know if it's gonna hold, but like I said, you could maybe hedge it here. I'm probably not going to personally because I already have Ada. So like in my opinion, like I would just wait for this if anything. But I don't think that that's a bad trade either. If you like take it, if you want to like convert your Bitcoin a little bit into Ada here, just because you don't think we're gonna make it down here, because I don't know if we're gonna make it down here. Like I think there's a good chance that we do, but I don't know for sure. But it's still not a bad trade. I mean, let's say you like got it at around 900 Satoshis. That's still like a 6x on your Bitcoin at the top. It's a 550% move. So a 6.5x. That'd be turning your 0.1 into 0.65. That's still pretty good. And to me, like after being in crypto for a few years, I think your Satoshi value is more important than your USD value. And especially when Bitcoin is just so, it's worth so much now, and it's kind of hard to get a full Bitcoin. Making trades like this against the Bitcoin pair is, in my opinion, the best way to get to a full Bitcoin. So it's still not a bad trade down here if you want to convert it. But this would be like the best case scenario if it did come down here. I just don't know if it will, but I mean, we did it here. We bounced up, came all the way back down. And I mean, we were at a higher level when we like came down from it, right? Like Ada could still go all the way up here and then come down. And we actually did it twice too. Like we didn't just bounce off here one time, but we did it here too. And this was actually on the way up instead. So after we left this range, we kind of consolidated here for a bit, and then we spiked to actually exactly where we are right now. And even then, we still came all the way down. In this case, we only wicked down here, but you got to realize like this was the second time. And it kind of makes sense, right? Like we kind of ranged here for a bit, left it, tested it one more time, and then, we made the huge run up. So I think there's still a chance we come down. The trade to me stays the same. It's still the same. Just wait if you can. Just sit on your hands if you can. If you really can't sit on your hands, I still don't think this is the terrible trade either. If you wanted to buy it around 900 or 800 Satoshis, I don't think that's like that bad. And it could actually end up holding. Like this trend line could end up holding, and maybe comes back down to test this area after we've left, and then we like go up. So there's a chance that plays out as well. But yeah, I just wanted to make an update video on the Ada potential trade setup, and still like things are still in line because we saw it happen twice from where we bounced. So I don't think it's completely out of the question yet, but we'll see what happens. I'll make another video on it in a few weeks after we kind of know what Ada's gonna do. But thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.